Hey, what's going on, everybody? This your boy James from What's Your Forte, and I know it's been a little while since I posted. I had to take a little break. Sometimes it's good to take a little break from everything and do a little mental break. Also, holidays is kind of a tough time of the year for me, but I'm back at it. So now, as you guys see, I'm up in the G80, and today I'm gonna be talking about all the cars I have owned in my 36 years on this earth. And so, a lot of the people that know me on a personal level know me before I even started doing YouTube and everything like that. Know I've had a lot of cars in my life, probably way too many. I made some bad decisions on getting some cars, and I'm gonna talk about that today, man. Because I think all of us that love cars, are auto enthusiasts, people that just love how cars work, just the way they look and everything. We probably all can kind of relate to some of the things I'm probably gonna say today, and also just the love of cars, and probably all have had probably multiple cars in our lifetime. So I figured this will be a real relatable video to everyone, and I thought it'd be fun to do. So go ahead and let y'all know now. Please don't judge me on some of these cars that I got, but let's have fun with it. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it, man. So started driving around the age of, once I got my license at 18. I did have a permit. I did do driver's ed around, I think in North Carolina, we have to do it around, we can do it at like 14 and a half, 15. I did do driver's ed and had a permit. Didn't really get a chance to drive a whole lot. My mom was kind of she didn't really like us driving like that. She thought we was always going to wreck, stuff like that. Because growing up, my dad had actually a S13 240 SX Nissan. So it was a manual. I did drive that a couple times, trying to learn how to drive a manual when I was younger, and it didn't go very well. My dad only gave me like one or two chances, and I stalled out a couple times, and I never got really a chance to drive that car again. So most of the time, most of my cars are going to be auto because of that. Now I have driven manuals, and I can drive a manual somewhat. I do plan on possibly buying another manual car here in the near future, so I can just get more comfortable driving manuals. I can get a manual from point A to point B, but I wouldn't say I'm an expert or very good at driving manuals. So that is one of my goals for the next upcoming years, is to get more comfortable driving manual cars. So that is a goal of mine. But so I'm gonna go ahead and get into the cars that I got. Started driving at age 18, and my first car that I got was when I was in college, actually. So it was a 1997 Hyundai Accent. I'm trying to find a picture of it. I'll be posting pictures of the cars that I have. If I have a personal picture, I'll post my car. If not, I'll do like a stock car, just so y'all can know what's going on. But so it was like a fuchsia, it was like a purple, like a light purple color. I was just so happy to have this car because my freshman year during college, me and my roommate, we were walking to school because of the housing situation on campus. We weren't able to get on-campus housing my freshman year, and I had to walk to school. So, especially during like winter workouts when I was playing football, I would have to either, my girlfriend at the time had to take me to campus early in the morning to catch winter workouts, or I had to walk, so I walked my whole freshman year of college for the most part, unless I got a ride, of course, to school. The walk was about 55 minutes to an hour every day, back and forth. So, man, you got to grind to get what you want. But so I was very happy to get a car because I got tired of walking, man. But 1997 Hyundai Accent, that car wasn't much. I had like the chrome hubcaps on it. I don't know if you guys remember how you used to, back in the day, put like used to black out the headlights and tail lights on cars by putting the little black covers on them. I had those on the headlights and tail lights. Couldn't see nothing at nighttime, but I ain't care. I thought it was cool. You know what I mean? So did that, and that car, it had like a 1.5 liter 4-cylinder engine. Power wasn't what it was all about in that car. I think it only made like 92 horse, 97 pound-feet of torque. One thing I remember about that car is it was my first car, one, and then two, whenever I cut the AC on, it would shut off. Like the AC would be on for like a couple minutes and then shut the whole car off. I remember there was one time I was on campus with the car. It was really hot that day, and some girls was walking up. I was trying to look cool in the car, you know what I mean? And I was sweating. As you guys know, if you watch my channel, you know I'm a sweater. I sweat a lot. And I was sweating a lot, and I was like, man, I can't be looking like this. And these girls walking by, so I tried to turn the AC on, yeah, the car just straight shut off in front of all the girls and stuff. They was like, oh, are you okay? You okay? And all this, man. I was like, yeah, I'm good. You know, but it was kind of a funny moment I always have with that car, man. But it was my first car, man. I've replaced a lot of stuff in that car. A lot of stuff started breaking and failing on that car. I replaced the whole door. I replaced a lot of parts on that car. Had to replace all the window regulators because they failed. You know, there was one point in that car that I had that basically I couldn't open the doors from inside the car. All the door handles had broke and none of them worked. So I had to crawl out the window. I'm telling y'all, man, like my first car it got me from point A to point B, but it was a piece of crap, man. But I think you know, a lot of people's first cars, you know, they probably can relate, you know. So that was my first car. How I ended up getting rid of that was it wasn't by choice. I was driving to go pick up a check. I was working at Food Line, I think, at the time, which is a grocery store for those that don't know in this area. And I was going to pick up a check before going to my other job because I was working multiple jobs at the time during the summer. And yeah, my brakes failed, and I ran into the back of somebody. So that was my first accident ever. My brakes failed going downhill, and I just ran into the back of somebody. So that's basically how that car, you know, rest in peace to that Hyundai. Basically how I got rid of that car because I, you know, due to a wreck, due to it failing on me, which is very, very fitting for that car because that car was, like I said, it was a piece of work, man. So bye to the Hyundai. At that point, I didn't really know what I was going to do. I knew I was working, you know, had a couple jobs in college. And at this point, I had kind of tried to figure out what was going on. I kind of stopped playing football due to a lot of stuff that was going on in my life. It just wasn't. During this point in my life, you know, after I wrecked the Hyundai, didn't really know what I was going to do. I had kind of stopped playing football at this point in my life because it just really wasn't a top priority for me. I know I wasn't going to the league or nothing like that, and I just needed to live, man. Like between walking to school, college, everything else going on. During this time, my mom had passed and stuff too, so I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. Didn't know what direction I was heading. So then I wrecked my car and totaled my car. So I'm just like, man, what is going on? So ended up going to a dealership. One of my roommates at the time, my homie Josh, which I actually seen him in the videos before. He's the guy that's done the detailing on my car before. Helped me with the leather ceramic. He's got his own mobile detailing business too. My college roommate. So he basically had told me about, he went to a Flow Honda dealership in Winston-Salem, and he was basically like, bro, you can go there. They got cars. You'll be good to go. Just tell them I sent you. And he looks out for the college students and stuff. So was able to basically go up there, and I got my first, I guess say, JDM car. I always was a JDM fan. Gran Turismo was like a game that everybody played. Loved the JDM culture and everything like that. So ended up getting my first JDM car. It was a 2001 Nissan Sentra SE. Pretty much it was the SCR before they actually put the SCR on the car. But it had a naturally aspirated SR20DE, not the DET that's in like the 240s and stuff, but it was like the non-aspirated, naturally aspirated engine. So it wasn't the turbo version, but just a natural aspirated because they didn't put the turbos in the Sentras, at least not in the States anyway. But it was a pretty stout car. Check my notes here. Yeah, so it made 145 horse, 136 pound-feet of torque. So I thought I was going super fast in that car. Coming from a car that had 97 horsepower to a car that had 145, I thought, man, I'm moving. You know what I mean? So I thought that car was super fast. That was the first car I really started doing like engine modifications too, because there really wasn't nothing to do on the Hyundai. So I did like a engine, cold air intake. I put some Motegi FF7 wheels on that car. Got it tinted out. I did like some stereo work. I put new headlights on it. I blacked out the headlights. I think I got the tail lights tinted, stuff like that. So that was the first car I really started getting really heavy in the mods. It just really, I would have done on the Hyundai. It just really wasn't a lot on the Hyundai, and the fact that they kept breaking, I had to keep fixing it. So Definitely loved the Sentra, man. It had a sunroof, had a nice sound system. Everything about it was great, man. I love that car. It was good on gas. Had my wheels on it. It was looking good. And then, this was around my senior year. I was getting ready to graduate. Going for an interview, and I was in front of a school, and pretty much somebody ran into the back of me. The bus was pulling out. I stopped to wait. The guy behind me wasn't paying attention. It was like a Ram 1500. Smacked me, ran right into the back of me, totaled the car, threw the car in the ditch. I had to do rehab and all that because my back was messed up from the accident. And crazy, man. I was very, very sad that day because I loved that car, man. Had done all the stuff to it, and then it pretty much was totaled. At that point, I was in between. I couldn't really work. Didn't really have a lot of income coming in. Didn't really know what was going to happen. And I just had to get an in-between car by the time that I wasn't able to work and between the settlement money came. So I had to get a tweener car. So I ended up picking up like a 1994 Honda Accord LX. Super, super basic. Nothing fancy at all. Got it like a really, really good deal. Just picked something up just to get back and forth to class and stuff like that. And, just regular everyday needs. You need a car down here in the South. So picked that car up, and I actually was able to get the wheels off of my Sentra, and I put the stock wheels back on and took my wheels off, my Motegis off, because I was like, I want my Motegi wheels. Put those actually on the Honda because they actually fit. So funny story about this is I had them on my Honda, and then there was people were stealing wheels in the area. I came out one day getting ready to go home, came out, caught my car on bricks. They had stole my wheels, man. I was pissed, man. I had wheel locks on them, and they was able still to get them, man. And I called the cops, filed the police report, and they were saying, yeah, a couple cars in the area got hit. We've been trying to track these guys. They've been stealing everybody's wheels, XYZ. We don't really have anything for you. We're sorry. If we hear anything, we'll let you know. I never heard back, so those things were long gone, you know what I mean? And during that time, I'm a broke college student. I was financing those wheels, and I had to end up finishing paying them off, even though I didn't even have the wheels. So really, really pissed me off because I was paying for wheels I didn't even have. Granted, it was only 3 payments left on them, but still, you know what I mean? You're still paying for something you don't even have. So, yeah, that sucked. So ended up getting a job. I actually let one of my homies keep the Honda because I pretty much let him take over the payments. And then I ended up picking up one of my favorite cars that I've owned. It was a 2004 Mitsubishi Lancer Rally Art. So this car, a lot of people didn't know about this car. I know my homie Eldridge said he had Eldridge Cortez. I know he said he had one. A lot of people slept on these cars, man. These cars handled great. Mitsubishi put it's like a baby Evo, so to speak. They put a lot of Evo handling and technology into the car. And those cars were great, man. They handled great, had good powers, around 162 horsepower, 162 pounds-feet of torque. It had like a Mavic, I think, engine in it, so it's kind of like their variable valve. They're kind of like their answer to VTEC. Honda's VTEC was their Mitsubishi's Mavic at the time, and handled great, had great power. It had the Rockford Fosgate sound system. I know a lot of you guys know about the Rockford Fosgates. If you did any kind of car mod, no music or sound audio files back in the day, Rockford Fosgate was like the top tier. Had a Rockford Fosgate sound system, great seats, good engine. It was a really, really good platform to do some things too. So I ended up doing like an intake. I ended up doing I put cross drilled and slotted brakes on it. Upgraded the tires. I liked the wheels that was on it, so I just upgraded the tires. I put an M1 exhaust on it. So I bought the M1. I can't remember the brand, but it was an M1 exhaust. I bought the muffler and had an exhaust shop, put it on, because back then I wasn't buying catbacks. I was just buying mufflers and having them welded on. And then it already had the strut, tower bar, stuff like that on it. I think I did it was one company that used to do mods on them. They had a little tune, did that on it as well. It was an NA engine, so it didn't make a lot of power, but I thought it was cool. That was actually the first car I actually took and put on a dyno. So there was a company that did that was close to us. Me and a couple buddies, my buddy Shannon and my other homie that used to stay down here in Charlotte, where I'm actually now. I was in Winston. We all, Dan, I think, yeah, Dan was his name. We all took it up there and got our cars dynos. So Shannon's car, his was kind of like pretty much an Evo. He basically took that engine and built like a big turbo kit on it and stuff like that. His car was super fast, crazy fast. And we ended up going to a big car show up in Virginia Beach. And we drove around with a bunch of Lancers and stuff. The Lancer group was really cool, man. So that was like my really first like tight knit like car crew that I was with, hanging with and stuff like that, was the Lancer group. We used to go to meets and do stuff like that. So that was really cool. I really enjoyed that car, man. That car was good. It was good on gas. It had good power. You know what I mean? Like, I won some races with that car. You know what I mean? So it was that real true first, like, I would say true performance car that I had during that time anyway. You know what I mean? Because it was quick. It could move. Good on gas. Looked good. Sounded good. So really enjoyed that car. And why did I even get rid of it? I'm trying to think, why did I even get rid of it? I want to say this was around 2008 at this point, 2008, 2009. And I found like the deal of the century, man. I thought it was crazy. So it's up in Wilkesboro, which is like kind of close to the mountain area in North Carolina. And I was looking online one day, bored, and I saw like a 2007 Scion TC, brand new. They had it marked down. I think it was marked down like 6,000-7,000. It had just been sitting on the lot for almost like over a year. They couldn't sell it, and they had it marked down like super cheap. So I called them, and I asked them about it, and I know the reason why I got out the Lancer now. The interest rate on it was high as crap. It was like a 14 or 15% interest rate because only thing that I had to finance the car with at that time, I had an offer letter from my company that I was going to work for, and that was it. I didn't have any, my previous work history, I wasn't working at those jobs anymore, but I did have the offer letter, so they considered me high risk. So they gave me a super high interest rate, which sucked, but whatever. I wanted the car, so I ended up paying it. It was like a 16% interest or something like that. It was something crazy. So once I realized that, that's the reason why I got rid of the Lancer. I was like, I can't keep paying 16% interest on this car. This interest rate is ridiculous. So ended up calling them. I got a lot better rate, brand new car, brand new Scion TC, man. So I was there wasn't that many in the area, so I was one of the first ones in the area with it. Brand new, the Scion TCs had the nice little sunroof that popped up, went all the way back. Really loved that car, man. That car got me through a lot, man, because I drove the mess out of that car. I think I had it for like 2.5 years, and I put like 70,000 miles on it in 2.5 years. I was driving that car everywhere, never had any issues with it. The only thing I ever had to do was change the oil, change the fluids, and put new tires on it, and that was it. That car it handled everything. And at this point, I had moved from Winston-Salem to West Virginia. Lived in West Virginia for a little bit. It survived the whole winter up in West Virginia, which it snowed like all the time up there. Driving in the snow, almost wrecking it, all that. So that Scion TC was a beast, man. And I had the full TRD kit on it. Had a TRD sways, TRD swing, sway bars, springs, the full suspension kit, all the performance upgrades on it, full TRD, everything. Had the TRD wheels, 18-inch wheels on it, exhaust, everything on that car, man. So I had the full TRD kit on it. Really loved that car. That car was fun, man. And I ended up getting like a couple promotions at work, ended up making more money, and I was just like, all right, I don't drove this car I ain't gonna say into the ground, but put a lot of miles on it. It's got like 70-something thousand miles on it. It's time to get rid of it. So this is when I really got this is probably, I would say besides this, it might be my second favorite car I ever owned is this car right here. And I would say after I got rid of the Scion, ended up getting the 2009 Pontiac G8 GT, man. Really enjoyed that car, man. I had that car probably still to this day the longest out of any car I've ever owned. Had that car for pretty much 4 years. That's the longest I've ever had a car. So loved that car, man. It had the big V8 in it, 6-liter V8. I believe, I'm looking at my notes here, it was an L76 V8 GT version, which was rated around, 355 horse, 385 pound-feet of torque. So letting y'all know, I went from a car that had 160 horsepower, maybe it was a little more than that once I did all the TRD stuff on it, probably around 200. And then I went from that to a car that had 355 horse and 380 torque. And I tell you, your boy was like, man, this is speed. This is real speed. I thought I was fast before. that car was like, it let me know what real speed is, you know, having that big car. And that car was, man, it was wonderful, man. It was great on highways, great on trips. I drove that thing everywhere, man, and I loved it. Ended up putting some 20-inch wheels on it, TSWs. They had the, I think it was like a 3 or 4-inch lip in the rear, like a 2-inch lip up front, staggered set up there. I did the intake. I had headers, exhaust. I actually took, on my buddies had the GXP edition, so I took the GXP exhaust and put it on my car with headers. Sounded perfect with that engine. Had some BF Goodrich tires on it with the wheels. Ended up I had an intake. I think it was Rotofab intake, if I remember correctly. And I had a little tune box. I think it was a Diablo tuner, if I remember correctly. And that's where you could, like, on the Diablo tuner, you can, like, basically put what octane gas you got in there, what mods you got, and then tune it on the little box, and it will, like, reflash the whole thing, give you the extra power. You can do, like, a little transmission shift. Because basically, that car, man, was very different from any other, like, Pontiac or Chevy around that time, because it wasn't import. Like, all the buttons and all the switches were in the middle. That's very odd for an American car. It had a blank pump sound system, which was no, like, American car really had that sound system. That's something, you know, international. So that car was very like a unicorn, man. I loved it. I loved it because it was so different, and no one in the area had one. So everybody, like, used to look at my car like, what is that? Like, I don't know what that is. And it was, loved that car, man. Had that car the longest. Like I said, probably the second most favorite car I've had. I ended up, you know, going through like a big career change. Everything was changing around me. Actually ended up moving to Charlotte. Lost the job, you know, and I had ended up getting rid of that car, and I ended up getting something a little cheaper. Ended up so this was like an in-between car between. So I had a Pontiac, and I know I was getting ready I needed to cut back and stuff and getting ready to sell the Pontiac. So before I sold the Pontiac, ended up getting like a Volkswagen Gli. So this was a 2004. So this is the one that had like all the ground effects, as they called it then. 1.8T. Very, very fun car. I think that was my first turbo car. Yeah, that was my first turbo car. It had 180 horse, 173 pound-feet of torque. Really loved that car. Had a Recaro seats. It was nice, man. I actually wouldn't mind driving one of those now, man. I wouldn't mind picking one of those up. The 1.8Ts, they have a couple of issues, but as long as you get like timing chain, stuff like that fixed with it, it was good, man. It was a nice little car, man. So really loved that car. I ended up finding another opportunity where I didn't have to sell the Pontiac at that time. So I ended up giving that car to my sister because I didn't need two cars, couldn't really afford two cars at the time. So I ended up giving that car to my sister. And I kept the Pontiac for the time being. I was thinking stuff wasn't going to work out, so I was going to sell the Pontiac and keep that car because it was cheaper. And then things ended up working out a little bit. So ended up giving that car to my sister, and I kept the Pontiac. Then I'll say a couple years passed, moved down to Charlotte, things changed again, and I ended up selling the Pontiac for a really, really good price. Ended up getting like a 2013 brand new Volkswagen Gti. I always wanted a GTI since I drove the GLI. I used to like the Mark IV, Mark V, you know, really loved those cars. Ended up finally getting the GTI. I always loved the hatchbacks. Ended up getting that one. I think that's a Mark VI, if I'm not mistaken. Mark VI Volkswagen GTI. 2-liter turbo, 200 horse, 207 pound-feet of torque. That car kind of was like, it was like Motor Trend car of the year, like 3 or 4 years straight. Something crazy. But that car was like a daily driver, perfect, good on gas, fun. That's like the perfect car to get. It's got enough torque, got enough power to get you, just enough to get you in trouble. You can drive it hard and not like break every speed limit. The DSG transmission was wonderful. Had the HID headlights. I mean, had enough room to carry your friends and groceries or whatever. Car was perfect, man. Good on gas. Car was great for the time being when I did with it. I didn't really have it that long, so this is where things get a little crazy with me in cars. I'm gonna kind of run through a couple of these next cars because, you know, I don't really know what I was doing, man. Like, I was just trying to figure out. I was going through a lot of changes in my personal life and my regular life, you know what I mean, and my cars changed a lot too because I didn't really know what direction I wanted to go, and I didn't know what direction the car I wanted to go either. So things about to get real crazy with me in cars. So had a GTI. I enjoyed it. Something just didn't feel right with me having that car. I don't know what it was. I don't know. I don't know. So Ended up selling the GTI. Then so I went from the GTI to a Chrysler 300S with a 5.7 liter Hemi in it. I don't know. I always wanted like a big car for some reason, so I ended up buying it. Ended up getting that. And this was like when they started making them look different. The 5.7 liter Hemi sounded good. I enjoyed the car for probably like 3 or 4 months. And then I was just like, man, like I really miss having like a little quick car, a sporty car. And the Chrysler 300, as anybody knows, is like a big boat, so to speak. Didn't really enjoy it that much. I enjoyed the sound. I enjoyed the Hemi. But I was like, man, I need something a little sporty, but I don't mind, the Dodge brand or whatever like that. So I ended up, the dealership that I bought it from ended up contacting me and was like, well, we could buy it back, blah, blah, blah. Then I actually went to another Dodge dealership and ended up picking up this is when they refreshed it a little bit, the 2016 Dodge Challenger SXT Plus. So I know I went from a V8 Hemi to the V6, but actually driving it, I didn't really feel like I was missing a whole lot because they had changed the transmission. Because in the Chrysler 300 3S, it was like the 5-speed, and then they switched to the ZF8. So transmission can make a big difference. Going from that 5-speed to the ZF8 speed that they switched over in the SXT Pluses, they started switching to the 8 speeds. Man, like I feel like the Challenger was just as fast as my Chrysler 300, even though that one only had a V6 versus the Hemi, because the transmission shifts was so much faster. So I didn't feel like I was missing anything. They gave me a real good price. It fit my budget at the time. And that was like the refresh model. So it was like I was going to be one of the first ones to have it. So that kind of caught my attention. So I ended up picking up that car. I ended up like plastic dipping like the wheels and the whole roof on it to black it out. Did like a solo exhaust on it. One of the first ones with that. And the solo exhaust, they have like a little part in the back of it. You can adjust it to change like the pitch of the sound. Did an intake on that. I think that one was, I can't remember what brand intake it was, but I did an intake, exhaust, and plastic dip some stuff. Really enjoyed that car for the time I had it. Really liked the Challenger. A lot of people love the Challenger. I used to come up and say they loved it because it was like kind of old school muscle car. Around like 2017, that was one of the hottest cars out. And I enjoyed it for a little bit, but I always in the back of my head was like, I did like Volkswagen, did like GTI, I had a GLI and a GTI, and I was just like, man, I wouldn't mind getting like an Audi, man. Audi was like my gold car before everything. I know all y'all like, man, you got BMW now and all this and that. Nah, I didn't care. I didn't really like BMWs like that. Growing up, like the E46 was probably like, that was the first car that made me start liking BMWs. The E46 and Laguna Seca Blue, that was like the first car that BMW made. I was like, yeah, okay, BMW, I see what you're doing now. All the other cars before that, I ain't really care for them. Like, at least growing up, I was more into JDM, stuff like that. I didn't really care for any of the BMWs like that. So Audi was like my gold car at the time. So I ended up finding the opportunity to get an Audi A6 S-Line Prestige. So sold the Challenger to them, picked up the A6 S-Line Prestige. Love that car, man. Supercharged V6, 310 horse, 325 torque. Car was quick, had all the performance stuff on it. Great interior, seats were comfortable, man. All-wheel drive, quattro. Love that car, man. I think I ended up painting like the brakes and some of the accents. I made all the accents black, painted the brakes lime green. Cause I was like this black and lime green kind of theme to it. I think I plastic dipped the wheels black. So I had this black, silver, and green, lime green type theme. My homie Anthony had like the same thing on the Subaru. So we had like kind of similar themes going on at the time. And yeah, man, I literally enjoyed that car. And that's kind of one of the cars I wish I never really got rid of. But the reason why I got rid of it is because bought the car thinking it had a clean title, thinking everything was good on it. For some reason, it was probably like a couple months after I had it, maybe like 6 months. I ended up looking at the title and stuff, looking at everything, and the title on it wasn't clean anymore. And I was like, what in the world's going on? Like, what happened? They said it had been wrecked and all this and that. And it was like, I guess it was a delay on when it hit the Carfax. So when the car dealership sold it to me, everything was clean, but it was like the wreck had happened. The guy got it fixed, and then I guess he sold it to that dealership, or he traded it in to get another car, and hadn't hit the Carfax yet, because how everything happened so fast, I guess. And then he, I guess, and then when I got it, they had like an older Carfax. I thought oh, maybe it was most recent. Anyway, however everything went, I basically checked the Carfax, and it basically had been in the wreck, and I didn't know it. So I was just like, something just made me feel real sour about the car, and I didn't want it anymore. Now thinking back at it now, I probably should have just been like, whatever. The car was fine. I didn't see anything wrong with it. I had it checked. Looked like all the body damage stuff that was happening had been replaced correctly, but it was just the fact that it had a wreck, and I didn't really want it. So I ended up getting rid of it. So I ended up selling that car, and I didn't really know what I wanted. Looking at Motor Trend a lot, looking at car reviews, ended up picking up a 2016 Lexus GS350 F Sport. It had like the red leather, white exterior. It was clean, man. Car handled very well. It lacked on power a little bit, especially coming from the A6 to that. That car was strong, and once you like revved it out, but in the lower RPMs, it kind of lacked a little bit. It didn't really have a lot of torque. It had like, the basic Lexus V6 they've been using for years in it. And car handled great. It looked good, but I don't know. It didn't do it for me either, especially coming from the Audi going to that. I was just kind of like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to get. This Lexus is cool, but it just ain't it. It never really won me over. I had plans to put like wheels and do all this other stuff to it. And I was even thinking about supercharging it and all that, because that's the only thing you really could do to make power on those cars. And I was just like, nah, this ain't it. So I started looking again. Told y'all, man, in this time span, like all these cars I've had maybe a year, 6-8 months. I had these cars and I was getting out of them, man. It was kind of crazy. Then I was just like, man, what am I going to do? What am I going to get? Started looking around. So then I started giving BMW a look. I said, let me go look at BMW, man. I haven't looked at BMWs in a while. Let me see what they got out there. So I ended up going down to Georgia, ended up finding a clean, super clean 535i, F10 535i. We all know what engine is that. The N55 engine is in that. It's 2015, clean, man. I got into it, drove it, fell in love with it instantly, man. I was like, man, this car's nice, man. I said, okay, BMW, y'all kind of changed a little bit. Like I said, I wasn't checking for BMWs at all. Like I kind of was like, man, I'm not gonna own a BMW. I don't really like the interiors and stuff they were doing. I just don't know. I just wasn't really feeling them at the time. I only had that car for like 6 months. So I had the car, loved it. Had to change the spark plugs. Took it to a local shop in the area. I'm not gonna say the name. I don't want no drama. They couldn't. I'll just say I need a spark plugs, oil change, something simple. Got the car back. It was misfiring. I was like, something's not right. They had the car. They had me in it was like an E90 328 or something like that. It was a piece of crap car. It was stuff didn't work on it. Anyway, long story short, it took them about 2.5 months to get the car to stop misfiring, and they had to end up shipping it to a BMW dealership to get it fixed because they couldn't fix it. So needless to say, it never took my car back to that shop. By the time I got it back, me and my girlfriend went down to Charleston just for a weekend getaway, and then someone like T-bones me in the side, or like in the rear side of the car. And it was like I had a car for a little bit, drove it for like 2 months, then that shop had it. Then I got it back from the shop. Now it's wrecked. It pretty much was like a couple $1,000s away from being totaled. Got the car back. It didn't drive right. Something just about it didn't feel right. I complained about it and ended up just getting rid of the car. I was just like, man, I didn't even get a chance to really enjoy that car. I don't know what's going on. So I ended up, this is where I ended up starting the YouTube, and I found the BMW 435 ZHP. So that was the black car that I had, the black 435 that I had that I actually started the channel with. A lot of you guys know that may have been the OG subscribers know I had the 435 before I had the M4 and before I had this. So the 435 ZHP edition. At the time when I bought it, I didn't even know it was a ZHP edition until I actually did more research on the car. Because it's kind of tough to figure out if you got a ZHP edition. That has certain things you have to look for. So when I got the car, I really liked it because I already had like carbon on it. It had like the track handling package. it was, you know, it had like the upgraded stuff that I wanted. So I was like, oh yeah. And that was like, you know, we all know about that car. It had a lot more power. The ZHP edition was like a little bit more power because it had like a BMW performance tune on it. So that one, like a stock 435, was like 300 horsepower, 300 torque. The ZHP bumped it up to 335 and 332. And that's just like the BMW performance software. Pretty much just, they just probably just up the boost on that. That's pretty much all they did. But I really like that car. All right, guys, so I had to change cameras. My other camera died on me. So what I was talking about, you know, the ZHP edition. It had, you know, the different BMW performance tune. It had like the track handling packages standard. Had the E-diff. Had a lot of nice things on it, and I covered everything I did on that car on this channel. And then, as you guys know, after that, I got the M4, which I covered everything I did on this channel. And then now I have the G80 M3, man. So as I told you guys, man, I had a lot of cars, man. I've only been driving since I've been 18, 36 now, so you can kind of know that's a lot of cars in that little bit of time frame. Actually, how many cars did I have? Let me count them up. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, man. Goodness, 16 cars, man. That's a lot, man. And I had a little bit of taste of everything, man. Had a little JDM in there, had some Audi, had a little American Muscle for a little bit, you know, and now I'm on the BMW kick right now, man. So who knows, man? I mean, I don't know what the next car is going to be whenever that is, and that's going to happen. Maybe it'd be a BMW, maybe not. I've built a lot of relationships with BMW. I will say, like, as far as like community, all the communities I've been in, as far as car community and stuff like that, the BMW car community has been probably one of the best. I probably met some lifelong friends in the BMW car community, lifelong partners, and it's been good, man, so far. So it's part of the reason why I've bought 3 BMWs back to back is the community and the people, man, that I met here, and just the help that people are willing to give each other. So that's what it's all about, man. So yeah, man. So I know this is kind of a long one, me just talking, but hope you guys enjoyed it, man. I really enjoyed it, going back and going down memory lane and talking about all these cars that I had, man, because I kind of forgot about some of them. When I was sitting down making a list, I said, man, I forgot about that car. I forgot I had that car. And I started thinking about memories and stuff that I had with those cars, man. So it was pretty cool, man. Really cool, man. So if y'all like this video, matter of fact, let me know down below, man. Y'all put y'all list of your cars that you had down below, man, in the comments. I'll be really interested to see what kind of cars you guys have had in your life so far. Probably like, what was your favorite model? What was the favorite one that you had? Yeah, man, let me know what you guys think, man. What cars have you owned? And let me know what you think about this video, man. I know I talked a lot, but I just wanted to share that experience with you guys, man. So hope you guys had a nice holiday, if you did celebrate. And I'll holler at you guys later, man. Peace.